But I got money in the bank, go in the safe. Throw it in the clip, I got more in my waist. Done the whole shit, I can let it go to waste. Hold up. But I got money in the bank, go in the safe. Throw it in the clip, I got more in my waist. Done the whole shit, I can let it go to waste.
This live stream may contain content that could be perceived as shocking or offensive, but it is presented solely for educational purposes. Viewer discretion is advised. We strive to adhere to community guidelines, and any potentially sensitive material is shared with the intent of fostering understanding and learning.
Good evening, guys. Hey, it's your boy Atypical Security Guard. I'm coming to you a little bit late tonight. I just came across this information. We have an update from the North Olmsted stabbing. If you're following this platform, I put up a video, I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. There was a situation of a suburb right outside of Ohio for a Kroger grocery store where the horrible situation, a random crazy lady followed a mother and her 3-year-old son into a parking lot and unfortunately stabbed both of them, the 3-year-old child succumbing to his injuries. They have released the CCTV footage, and I want to share that with you guys. There's a couple takeaways and important things that we should kind of address because the video that I put out was about talking to your family, talking to your loved ones, trying to get them into a mental state where they understood that, number one, that this is a threat. This is a real thing that happens. It's a possibility, unfortunately, in today's society. So with the release of the CCTV footage, I think it's important to discuss a couple of other aspects of it that need to be addressed. So again, this is coming out of North Olmsted. Video credit is going to go to WKYC Channel 3 of Ohio. The link is in the description. All rights reserved. I'm using this under fair use. I'm going to bring in the news story, and then I'll jump back in and give you guys my brief thoughts about everything. So stand by.
We have some new disturbing video. Just want to give you that heads up to share with you that sheds light on the moments before an attack that killed a 3-year-old boy and injured his mom earlier this week in North Olmsted. It shows the suspect, Bionca Ellis, at the police station before the incident. And then you see her there walking around with a knife inside Giant Eagle.
Lena Lai has the latest, and as Christy just referenced, we want to warn you that this video might be upsetting for some to watch.
New video shedding light on the 30 minutes before a deadly stabbing in North Olmsted Monday. The video showing Bionca Ellis walking into the police station there around 2:30 that afternoon. She's pushing her own wheelchair with a suitcase. Police say she was there in connection with her arrest the week before.
You got anything on you at all?
Ellis had a warrant for her arrest tied to a previous theft conviction. Police arrested her and then let her go. 4 days later, Ellis is seen going to the Volunteers of America thrift store, where police say she stole 2 knives, then briefly stopped in bins and things before walking into Giant Eagle. At 2:58, she walks past the service desk with the knife waving by her side, and no one appears to see it. Then we see her walking near the cash registers. Again, no one appears to see or react to the knife. She then passes Margot Wood and her 3-year-old son, Julian. Ellis immediately turns around and starts to follow them. Cameras show just before 3 p.m., Ellis walked into the lobby and follows behind the mother and son as they exit the store. Cameras then show her following them through the parking lot and to their car.
Somewhere near their vehicle, Miss Ellis then attacked the 2 of them.
Ellis is set to be arraigned this Monday morning. Police say the attack was a random act of violence, and the big question tonight still is why. Christy, the motive is not clear.
It is frightening. Lena, I do want to get to something else because I understand funeral arrangements for Julian have been announced.
Yes, they have. Let's get to that right now. Calling hours for Julian will take place Friday from 2 p.m. to 8 at Repepi Funeral Home in Parma. There will be a massive Christian burial that will then be held Saturday morning at 11 at St. Charles Borromeo Church in Parma, with the interment at the Sunset Memorial Park. There is also a GoFundMe set up for the Wood family, which has raised close to $200,000 tonight. We have a link to that right now on WKYC.com. Meanwhile, the organizers of the GoFundMe say you can support the family in a different way by forming a memory line along the route from the church to Sunset Memorial Park on Saturday from 11:45 a.m. to 1 p.m. We also have those details on WKYC.com. And Christy, they're also asking people to flood the streets along the route with the color green, as well as dinosaurs. Those were his favorites.
Certainly hope that gives them some sort of peace that so many people are thinking about them.
It's not going to give him any peace. I didn't want to cut off the video there while they were talking about the funeral and information regarding young Julian's things that he likes, things like that. You know, it's a very sad situation. So it's not lost on me that in this situation you have a person that is in police custody and is released. I mean, we could go down that road. That's not for tonight. That'll be a different video, a different set of videos. I mean, we've touched on that. I just want to talk about the situation at hand here. We're watching this video, and all throughout the surveillance footage, you see people going about their business, people going about their day. And literally this woman is walking through a grocery store with a knife in her hand. It has been reported that at this exact location, approximately a year ago, allegedly, that there was a murder-suicide. It's not okay for the everyday average citizen to not be aware, to not notice things, to be so within their own self and their own situation, their own daily lives, to not notice something like this. But I give the average person a little bit of leeway, a little bit of forgiveness. But for people who work at this location, if you work within this grocery store, and if all reports are to be believed that there was a murder-suicide that happened at this location, you should be way more vigilant than this. This lady is walking right down the main paid side of the grocery store. There are people all around this person. There's a person behind her right now, and no one is saying anything. No one is saying anything as she goes out into the parking lot. No one is saying anything. You know, we talk about the importance of each individual being their own first responder, being able to deal with the situations that they find themselves in. But we also have to say that each individual person has to wake up to these situations, to the reality of these situations, the potential threats that are out there, and just lift your fucking head up. Just lift your head up. Take your head out of your phone, take your head out of your ass, and look at what's happening around you. Someone should have seen this. Someone should have seen it. Someone should have said something. And I know that a lot of people, they don't want to get involved. You know, we've gotten to this point where no one wants to be responsible for their neighbor. No one wants to be the person that says something, and then, you know, the crazy person, the homeless person, the person with mental illness turns their issues on you. I get it. But this isn't okay. A 3-year-old kid should not be the one that suffers for everybody's ineptitude. I'm not going to keep you guys long here. There's a couple of important takeaways. What are they? Number one, I say this time and time again. It's literally getting repetitive. Situational awareness. The most important thing is to understand that these things happen, that the potential for violence is literally everywhere. It doesn't matter what state you're in. It doesn't matter how small your town is. It doesn't matter if you're at the grocery store, if you're at church. It doesn't matter if you're at a school, if you're at a gas station, a bowling alley. All of these places are places where violence has happened. All of these places are places where mass shootings have taken place, where acts of random violence have taken place, domestic violence has taken place. It can happen anywhere. So you're not immune. And since you're not immune and it can happen anywhere, and we're all aware of that, you have to be aware of your surroundings. Again, take the headphones off, take your head out of your phone, pay attention to your surroundings, and look at what's going on around you. It could save your life. Number 2, see something, say something. I understand that a lot of people don't want to get involved. A lot of people don't want to be the person that has to confront someone, address someone. Everybody's not built like that. But if you're in a grocery store and you see something that looks out of place, and you're talking to somebody who works in this exact environment, I get people that come up to me on a daily basis and tell me things that are not within the scope of my employment. They tell me things that have nothing to do with my job. They tell me things that's not my concern. But you know what? At the end of the day, I would rather someone tell me or tell someone else something. And if it doesn't quite sit right, maybe I inform someone else. Maybe I take that information to a manager. Maybe I deal with it myself. But I would much rather people see something and say something as opposed to what's happening in this situation in Ohio. Those 2 people that are sitting there engaged in their conversation, the people that are just going on about their day, the person that's walking behind this bitch right here absolutely should have seen that knife in their hands. Okay? If you see something, just please say something. Again, you don't have to be the person that confronts that person. It's not necessarily your responsibility to be the person to step in and intervene, but at least say something and call out things that just don't seem right. The only way that you're going to be able to do that, and this is number 3, and the last thing I'm going to leave you guys with, is something that we don't want to say out loud. We don't want to admit, something that is a little bit difficult of a subject to broach, but you can't ignore the profile response. Your ability to categorize people, categorize places and things. From a primal standpoint, it's a safety mechanism. And we've gotten to a place in a civil society where we've somewhat trained ourselves to not profile people. And I understand that as an elevated species, as human beings that want to get along with each other, we tend to deny the profiling. Guys, if you're in a area where the demographic is pretty clearly one direction, and someone comes into your store that doesn't quite fit in, they don't look the same, they're not acting the same, they're not dressed the same, they're not carrying themselves the same. There's clearly a difference in the way that this lady looks, is walking, is behaving, is carrying herself. Most people, when they see that, they're going to recognize that as different. The issue is that we have kind of trained ourselves to push back against that. Hey, don't profile people. Don't think negatively of people in this situation and circumstance. What I'm saying is that in the situations of your survival, there needs to be a level of assessment that comes with the internal profiling of people, places, and things. Allow yourself to think for a second. Are you being racist in that moment? Are you being prejudiced? Are you being bigoted? Or is something clearly amiss? The profiling is not necessarily about color. It's not necessarily about a certain gender. It's not necessarily about a certain type of person. It's the issue that something here is off. Something here is different. And you will pick up on it. I guarantee you will pick up on small subtleties of difference. The way that someone is walking through that store, the way that they're carrying themselves, if they're staring off into space, if they're mumbling to themselves, these are all telltale signs that something is not right. And when you see that, looking at the waistline, looking at the hands, it's not uncommon that you might see someone carrying a knife in this situation. Okay? So sometimes you have to break free of a lot of the things that we have been trying so hard to train out of ourselves and push out of ourselves. And trust me, in a civilized society, I understand where that comes from and the importance of that. But in terms of what we're talking about right now, it is so important to not let that initial feeling that something is not right and something is different and something is amiss go without actually leaning into it and figuring out what's going on. That could have saved this poor kid's life. Okay. I don't want to keep you guys too much longer today. I wanted to share this information. I just came across it and I didn't want to go to bed without making this video. I would love to hear your opinions. I would love to hear your thoughts. Please share your comments in the comment section. Most importantly than anything else, please pray for this young boy. Please pray for his family. You know, I have 4 kids of my own. My daughter's birthday is tomorrow. My youngest daughter. I can't even imagine being in this situation. So please pray for that family. Please pray for his soul, and talk to your family, talk to your loved ones, get them aware of the importance of situational awareness, seeing things before they happen, saying something before something bad happens, and taking care of themselves in the situation. All right. You guys have a great night. You be safe. And as always, be great. All right. Be great.
Well, I got money in the bank.